What's going on, guys? It is Saturday morning and it's kind of cool out, hence the hat, and that's about it. I figured I'd talk a little bit and just kind of wait right now for my Mavic 3 Cine resolution with DJI, which is pretty unnerving and a bit frustrating, but I keep on going over some of the screen recordings I had because I was obviously doing a lot of this flying and footage for YouTube tutorial purposes. So I'd figured, why not show what I'm seeing with you guys and to kind of see how nuts DJI is for saying basically that I crashed the drone when basically where it lost signal, I was really nowhere near any buildings. I mean, I was near them, but I had plenty of space, and I was actually watching the drone when it went into sport mode because I put it in the sport mode because the drone wasn't actually flying and it wasn't moving. So it's very, very hard to deal with a case or an incident, I should say, when they're claiming one thing and everything you watched and witnessed was completely polar opposite. And just because their logs may show something, my screen recording also clearly shows something as well. So I figured I'd show you guys and see. I don't know if anyone's in here yet, but I can share my screen and kind of show you my iPhone 13 Pro Max screen recording. Let me check. I'm getting some messages. Hold on, I gotta actually send someone something. Let me know if you guys are in here. What's up, man? How are you? I'm just sending actually someone a bit of this video to kind of show them. Hold on one second. Okay, I'll send it to them later. But if you see, I'm going to share my screen. What's up, FlyZone? Hope everything is well on this Saturday. If I share my screen with you, again, it's pretty annoying that this is even happening. I really wish I somehow knew where the drone went. But if you guys can see this, I think you can. So say right now I'm flying in the city with my Cine. Now notice signal strength from remote control is solid. I got 20 satellites and I'm just kind of cruising. Obstacle avoidance seems to be kind of oversensitive. Recording, flying back. I think I descend in altitude. Would have been some really beautiful ProRes footage for sure. Been better, Peter. Be better when this whole Cine thing is resolved and behind me. Too much money at stake.
Fly
so as you
cautiously.
See, I'm getting this manned aircraft from the APAS. Nothing here, obviously. I'm under the building, so no worries. And I'm flying. Now, mind you, look, remote control strength solid, satellites 18. And then it just starts kind of going to crap right around here by this black building. Now look where I'm at. The towers, this black building. Signal kind of goes crap. I'm not moving. I'm unable to move right now. It literally won't fly. I'm trying to fly backwards. 6 satellite signals. I can't move, so I throw it in the sport mode to try to break it and move. Right now I'm in normal mode. Boom, put it in the sport mode. And right now it goes black. So mind you, look where I was at. Do you see where I was at? I was stuck here. So basically these are... Whoop, wait, hold on, let me get back there. So these are the Marina Towers. I'm in the middle of the river, lined up directly in the center of this bridge. Here's this black tower. And then, if you look on the maps, say for example, we go to Google Maps. Here's the top. Whoop, let me show you. Whoop. I'm basically right here, somewhere in like this zone, right by this bridge. Now, mind you, I'm flying. I take off from right over here. So I'm flying right where this little hand is. Whoop. It's very sensitive with the zoom. Hold on a second. No. Oh, wrong way. Okay, stop. Oh, that's so freaking annoying. Anyway, I'm basically right here in the middle of the river. And now if I fly back, again, I didn't even fly back, but if I continued flying back, say even in sport mode and just went zoo, it's going to pass me essentially directly overhead. And then the only place it would have crashed would have been over here, which was basically 15 feet from me. And I guarantee I would have heard it. I would have seen it. The valet, someone from one of these buildings would have said something. I checked the roof on each one of these buildings. I talked to the valet people that are out in front. Nothing. Nobody saw a drone. Nobody heard anything. Nobody saw anything. And if the drone was flying backwards, as I said, in sport mode, like they were saying, and I crashed, this is the two little corn cob. This is the black building. Now, if you go over here and look, let's go back over to Finder. Oops, shoot, too much crap open. I'm so sick of it. So let me see, where am I going? So now if I'm right here, so look, the black building's framed to the right. I'm in the middle of the river. I throw it in the sport mode, and the minute I throw it in the sport mode, literally, like, look, boom, within 2 seconds, basically, weak signal, gone. Literally, that was 2 seconds. If I was over here and I flew in the sport mode, here's the black building. Mind you, I was dead in the center, probably right over here. There's no way. It would have taken me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would have taken me at least 5 seconds, 6 seconds to fly full speed sport mode and crash into one of these buildings, which would have been like this whole huge fiasco, and someone would have saw it. So I don't know. I mean, it's just very bizarre, this whole thing. Let me see. Hold on. I got too much windows open. Where is Ecamm? So I don't know. I mean, as I said, here, wait. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just very bizarre that they're saying I crashed the drone because I went in the sport mode. And as I said, if you see, wait, where are you? Too many windows. Okay, it's bad because I got jobs up here that I need to work on. I mean, the minute I'm going to go full screen and you can see. Oop, not over here. So
fly cautiously.
Cruising down. Cruising down. And right now, basically, I can't move. So I wasn't able to fly at all. And that's the only reason I threw it in the sport mode. And then it disconnected. And that was basically it. I have no idea what happened to it. So here we go again. Normal mode. Everything started to degrade with my GPS. And then I think my remote controller, or my optical avoidance turned off, of course. And then the RC just lost connection. So it all went to shit really quickly. And again, it's weird. How would I purposely be cutting off my satellite numbers? How's that even possible? That's my screen recording off my iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's exactly what was happening on my display. So, I mean, this doesn't lie. It just makes no sense to me, which is why, this is what was happening when I was flying. So he said, I'm flying, cruising back. I was literally going to come back to land. And I just couldn't move. Right now where I was at, it was basically stuck and not flying backwards. So I switched into sport mode, thinking I was going to maybe break through some winds or something. And then basically I lost total connection to the controller. And the rest was history. I couldn't find the drone. So I don't know. Not sure what went on, but wanted to show you guys a little bit of that and actually the map, just to show you and show people essentially, again, where is this map? Can you just there we go, Command Plus. Oh, I never use this street map thing. Come on. How do you go full screen? How do you get rid of this? Come on, go away. Oh, I don't know. There we go. So anyway, I don't know what went down, but I figured I would show and share. And again, if I were to go ahead and go backwards in flight where I was flying from, it literally would have cruised right over me. So just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't know what went down. The only reason obstacle avoidance, the obstacle avoidance turned off because I went into sport mode really quickly because I couldn't move and I was trying to break through whatever was stopping me from moving. I thought it was maybe some gusts or winds, so I put in the sport mode quickly. I wasn't going into sport mode for any other reason other than the fact that my drone literally wouldn't fly anymore. It just stopped dead in its tracks. And when it stopped dead in its tracks, basically I lost connection. Everything went to shit, and that was that. So they're saying I crashed the drone, and I didn't crash the drone. I literally lost control of the drone, meaning I couldn't even fly the drone. It wouldn't fly back to me. So I don't know what happened. I just wanted to share the screen recording because I could, and I'm just kind of laying around right now on Saturday before I go to my mother's. So yeah, I mean, as I said, it's just bizarre because the reality is what they're saying is not accurate. So I don't know what the log files are saying. They're saying that I crashed, but again, where I was at right now in this location, where are you again? Here, let me just get rid of the screen share for a second and get back to... Yeah, thanks, John. I mean, it's, again, it's tough because, you know, everyone wants to say pilot error. I tried to find my drone, and it was saying the home point was across the river from where I was standing. I looked in that zone, nothing to be found. Where it supposedly went to, I went and looked actually on both of the rooftops. Nothing there. Nobody heard anything. Nobody saw anything. So, what's going on, Third Eye View? So again, you know, nobody at any of these hotels. Where is that again? I'm trying to, let me see. Google Maps. I'm not familiar with Google Maps. I don't really use these that often. Which is the best way to do it? Well, you could kind of see, here, wait, the Street View one. Google Maps Street View. It's really magnified. So here, Michigan. Michigan and Wacker. I don't know why it's not. Okay, so here, these are the only buildings essentially that I would have backed into, one of these guys. And there's always people out in front. Oop, I'm not sharing the screen. Hold on a second. Sharing the screen. No, not yet. There we go. So right over here is where the drone was flying, basically dead in the center, wouldn't move, threw in the sport mode, still wouldn't move, right kind of in light, you know, sight of this black building. So this little Mavic 3 Cine was hard to see against the black building, first off. And they're saying that I backed in to something. If I went in sport mode and reversed, essentially I'm cruising. This is exactly where I took off from, so it would have went right over me. Literally, it would have went right over me. I was flying backwards to me, so that was the whole intent, flying in a straight line safely in the middle of everything. And if I kept on going, it essentially would have hit one of these buildings. There are people out in front of every one of these buildings. Nobody saw anything. Nobody heard anything. Nobody heard or saw a drone. I obviously walked all over. I actually looked on the roofs of all these buildings. But it's showing that essentially it crashed right away by going black. That's what everyone keeps on telling me. Like, you lost connection, it went black, you crashed. I didn't crash. There's nothing to crash into. I was up above high enough that if I went backwards, I would have just kept on going backwards. And obviously, if it crashed somewhere in this zone, I would have seen it and heard it. I was standing right over here. So again, just super bizarre. So none of it makes sense and just kind of sucks. And I'm hoping DJI does pay attention to this because, again, it wasn't something that I did. I did not crash the drone. And as I said one other time, if we look over here when we're cruising, let's go. It was such beautiful footage too. So I don't know why it's showing that on the bottom left. There was nothing really there, if it's just being hypersensitive. But this is where things started to go wrong, and I was losing signal, satellite signal, or GPS, whatever. RC strength is still solid, 5 bars. And then I put in sport mode because I couldn't move. And then boom, done. So obviously I did not crash because where I was at was in a zone that was still in the middle of the river. Here's the black building. Again, and that's it, done. So, and if again we go to look at the street view, basically where I was at, the black building was in the frame. These guys were in the frame. This white building was in the frame. I was dead in the center of the bridge. Say I was even over here, it still would have taken me across where I was essentially into one of these buildings, and nobody saw or heard anything at any of these buildings. I went and talked to everyone, to the engineers, to the valets, to the doormen. Nobody saw or heard anything. So just super bizarre. I don't know what the fuck happened. Pardon my language. So I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but it stinks because, again, a lot of people are going to go ahead and say pilot error. And if I did crash, that would have been one thing. I would have recovered the drone, or at least have known where it went somewhat, because I would have heard it or saw it. But I have no idea what happened to it. So I'm hoping that may help clarify some stuff, even with DJI. If they see the actual map and where I was, lined up with this building directly in the center. And again, yeah, if this is boring, sorry. I'm just kind of showing it just to see what other people have to say. But mind you, I'm totally in the center, maybe off to the right a little bit. GPS signal weak. I'm not even worried about that because if it goes in the ADI mode, I could handle and fly. But basically losing connection to the entire drone with the transmission, and then also not just being responsive when I go and do anything on the sticks, and then losing this and having no signal or feed, totally sucked. So anywho, that's it for now. That's all I have to say. Yeah, I had the Cine version. So the number of sets at launch, let me see. So 9. And I hover usually until it builds up. So 9, 10. And then as I get higher, probably goes up.
Fly cautiously.
But even with 8, 9 satellites, I'd never really have a problem. And then as I get higher and clear more buildings, of course, it starts getting better. So it goes all the way up to 20. Average like 13, 14. I mean, as long as this isn't in the red, I'm not overly concerned. And as I start coming down, again, 22, 20, 19, 18, and then it just goes to crap right here. I don't know if there's something with this building, but this is when I literally could not fly. I was stuck. So I was trying to fly backwards, and it wasn't responsive. And then it just all, as I said, went to shit. GPS went. I tried to throw it in the sport mode right here to break through and see if that would help get it to move, because the drone wouldn't physically move, and then it just went boop and done. So you can't see it. How can't you see it? I have it set the home. It did set the home point on another screen recording. I have it somewhere. Let me see where it is. I don't know. I have it on one of my screen recordings. I got to find it. But really frustrating. Let me see where it is. It just basically left me pretty useless in the air. Yeah, I mean, the home point was showing across the river for me, so I don't know. It's really bizarre. Basically, everything was not working accurately, and it's hard for me to say what the hell went wrong or what I did or what I didn't do, because nothing was working the way it should have anyway. So who knows? I don't really want to waste any more energy on this whole incident, but it did set the home point, as I do have a screen recording where it set the home point basically where I was at, and then I took off. I did a bunch of screen recordings because I was taking different flights, but I mean, I don't know how it sets them so inaccurately across like the river, for example, but who knows, man? I don't know. I mean, it's funny how people give thumbs downs. That's why all this stuff is goofy. I think people want to like hate on it, and it's like, the fact is I lost a frickin' drone that cost me $4,000, and people can think and say what they want, but that thing did not respawn and was stuck in the fucking air. So that's the reality. I mean, as I said, I think if people put themselves in my shoes, or if they had it happen to them, they would understand that it was very messed up and not the norm. So I mean, the Fly app normally doesn't cause me any issues. I have no idea, as I said. I mean, it's hard to say what really went on. It's a new drone. It's new technology. Other people supposedly, even like Ken Dobo, said that he heard at least 3 flyaways happening. You know, he messaged me last night, or we were talking on Facebook. The home point wasn't showing in the river, Lon. The home point was showing across by, actually the home point was set like right in this zone. If you can see, it was set by the Trump Tower, which I didn't set it to. So it didn't go into the river. I was right by the river. I would have heard a splash or something. I don't even know what the Herb Cup and whatever bridge is. I know. Yeah, I mean, I should have had a tile or an air tag on it. That would have helped out a lot, knowing where it went. But of course I didn't. Lesson learned. I mean, this is the first time I've ever had something this drastic happen to me while flying. So who knows, man? I don't know. It's all good. Whatever happens, happens. Everything happens for a reason. I'm not going to lose sleep over it too much. but DJI should handle it and do right. I mean, I'm a good customer. Just recently bought an Inspire 2, bought a Mavic 2 Pro, Zoom, Air 2S. I mean, FPV. I mean, I've pretty much bought most of their drones. So you would think they would at least do right by a customer regardless, even if, say, it was my fault, which I don't believe it was. But they're not like that. They're very cut and dry, black and white, and they just seem to look at logs. And if the logs say one thing, there's no, lenience. But we'll see what they do. I don't know. I just know that they're saying I continued backwards. Yeah, I have care refresh, but I don't have the physical drone. So there's the issue. If you don't have the physical drone, it always makes things that much harder. But DJI is saying that I continued in sport mode. The thing is, the drone wasn't even moving in sport mode. That's what's so annoying too. Oh yeah, this guy? Yeah. Here, hold on. I'll share the screen. Yeah, I mean, essentially I was stuck right by this bridge. And when I threw it in the sport mode, it wasn't even moving. So sport mode didn't cause anything. Sport mode didn't even make the drone move. And I believe I put it back in the normal mode right afterwards because it wasn't doing anything and still not moving. And then I broke connection and everything went to crap. And that's when basically I couldn't locate the drone anymore, and I don't know what happened to it. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they should at least work with me somehow. I don't know. Maybe they will. I'm not sure yet. I don't have the resolution. They're still going back and forth. But what they sent me in the email was essentially saying that I went back on the sticks and crashed. And again, if I went back on the sticks from where I was at in the location, I essentially would have flown. I don't know why it keeps on doing this. If I was right here in this zone and I was standing, literally my car was parked right over here and I was standing right here, it would have gone basically right over me. And I guarantee I would have seen it or heard it fly in sport mode and then seen it crash or heard it do something. So we'll see what happens. I was off the sticks though, Lon. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't going on the sticks. I actually tried to probably go up on the left stick to raise altitude a little at one point, just up and down to see if I could physically see it, maybe break a building. But I wasn't going on the sticks while I couldn't have a feed. I mean, I knew I didn't want to go ahead and risk crashing it that way because I had no idea where it was or what was going on. So I just let off the sticks completely and tried to regain control of my remote. But we shall see what happens. Kind of stinks because, again, Mavic 3 I can't really do much with now until I have a resolution. So I'm either out of drone, out of money, both. See what DJI says. I'm praying they do right and understand that this is a new drone, new technology, and something must have went wrong because it went from pretty darn good strength and signal, especially remote control signal. I mean, the GPS satellites aren't that big of a deal. What causes you to go into ADI mode is your remote control signal strength. And that was fine until it wasn't fine and it all went bad literally in a few seconds. And that wasn't because I threw it in the sport mode. The only reason I put it in the sport mode again is because the drone wouldn't fly and it stopped flying and responding on me. So who knows? It's all good. You know, everything happens for a reason. I should have had haul insurance on this. Now I know if I have a drone, that's a value. I'm going to make sure I have additional, insurance on it, especially if I'm flying in the city. Idiot I am for not. I thought the refresh was going to be adequate, but we'll see. Hopefully it actually suffices a little bit, but it's easy for people to kind of hate on this. I don't know why people get like mad because I don't want to share my log files either yet because I was advised not to until DJI really comes to a resolution because it just adds to the confusion. So that's what I was advised not to do. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they help out, man. That's all I can say. I mean, it's a lot of money. I hope they have my back, and I hope they look out for me because, I mean, this really wasn't something that I caused. I mean, I was flying safely back within visual line of sight, and then it all went sour in a matter of literally like a few seconds. I mean, from flying back to me, visually seeing it, to the point where I lost remote, I lost satellites, everything went bad, and that was that. I don't know. I mean, maybe I should have been using the smart controller, you know? I mean, maybe that would have prevented it. I don't know. But maybe, again, if I was using the smart controller and this happened, I would have blamed it on the smart controller having some issue. It's really hard to say what caused it. It shouldn't, in theory, have mattered which controller I was using. The only reason I was using the standard controller, again, is because I feel comfortable with it and I enjoy flying with my iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's just easier for me. And I didn't want to go ahead. I'm explaining, Lon. I essentially just didn't want to use the smart controller yet in the city because to me it was still more of an unknown variable and I wanted to kind of control it a little bit and fly with what I'm used to flying with. I fly comfortably and better with the standard controller, and I just wanted to fly that way and then go ahead and use another day to use the smart controller only and see how I liked it. See if I liked it more or less, if the range was better, if it was worse. Now I don't have that opportunity. I was going to use the smart controller. I actually think it feels pretty darn good. It feels a lot better than the prior controller, but just didn't get to that yet. Yeah, I mean, the phone went black. It crashed. It didn't crash, but I mean, the display went black. It was basically like setting up the Mavic 3 for the first time. It was just showing the drone selection screen. So I had nothing on my end. I had no live feed. I had no control. I know I had no control while I had the live feed before it actually went bad and crashed or whatever. And so I don't know. I mean, I think the city is definitely high risk. I know that, but at the same time, I never had an issue flying there truly to where I had an incident like this. This is the first out of many times flying in that exact zone. It's always somewhere where you want to be really mindful and really alert because things can go bad quickly and you want to be ready to go ahead and fly into ATTI mode. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the standard controller, but I actually enjoy that controller. I have since the Mini 2. I think that's a pretty, I don't know. I don't like the Mavic 2 controller. I hate that. Or the Mavic 2 Zoom. I'm not really a huge fan of the Phantom controller. The Inspire controller I really don't like. But everyone has their, their preference based on their hands and what they feel comfortable with. I actually think it's a good controller, but that's me. Like I hated the smart controller from Autel. To me, that was way too big and heavy. So everyone has their flying style and their, their preferences. But that's it. I wanted to share at least a screen recording and a little bit of the map so you can see geographically where the drone physically was and to actually show maybe DJI will peek at this. Let me go back over here. Where are you? Am I in screen view or no? No, I'm not. There we are. I mean, if I was right in this location where I was stuck and the thing wouldn't fly, and I went into sport mode, and I went backwards on the sticks, it would have taken me how many seconds to cruise backwards? Say even, like I would have had to have turned, but I guarantee these are one of the buildings I would have crashed into. And nobody saw or heard anything anywhere near here. And I went on the roofs on the London House and this whole zone over here. And we were able to look at the different rooftops too. I went in the alley to look. So I definitely did my work trying to find this thing. And that's that. So we'll see what happens, man. I guess have a good weekend. And until then, I'll probably know a lot more on Monday, I'm hoping. Most people are not working because of the holidays. I couldn't get in touch with DJI yesterday, so... Yeah, I mean, I didn't like my Crystal Sky with the Inspire. To me, the Crystal Sky was a laggy piece of shit, but that was me. I really had no good luck with my Crystal Sky. It was always kind of not fun to fly with the Inspire, and I had a way better experience using my iPhone 13 Pro Max. So I guess you just get used to something. Everyone has their thing, right or wrong. I just like the iPhone experience, and actually the 13 Pro Max at 1000 nit is pretty darn bright. It's the same brightness as the new Smart Controller, and it does a nice job for a display. So that's it, guys. Have a good weekend. I'm going to go cruise with my mom and stoke her out a little bit, take my mind off drone life and play caregiver and get her some fresh air and get myself out of this place too. I need some nature zone. So, yeah. See you guys. If it's lost sats, it's like a kite. Yeah, I know. Dude, the city's nuts. It's really a learning experience too. I mean, this was just not, that's the thing. I've flown my Inspire in this zone too, and I don't like flying there, but I have. But the thing with the Inspire is it's so big you can physically see it easily. So I don't know. It's just sketch flying any of those drones in that area or in the city to begin with. So had a flyaway. Shh. Yeah, I'll be back in Hawaii eventually, man. I'm just here for a little bit. Windy City is not my favorite city. I mean, I grew up here, born, raised Chicago, so always got love for Chicago, but I don't want to be here anymore. Ready to get back to Island. The city is cool to fly because it's a city and it's Chicago. Pardon me. And it's actually good to, test things out. It's an extreme place to fly, so I guess that's why I kind of dig it. But like I realized, extreme things can happen too, so there's that. Lesson learned. Yeah, the weather is annoying, man. This time of year I really don't love. I'm not a fan of cold, which is why I moved to Hawaii originally. So, but have a good weekend, guys. Send some good vibes. Hopefully DJI does well by me and does right and things get resolved and we fly on. Yeah, go ahead. We cruise. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.